see. Good morning, everybody. Sorry about that little lengthy intro. And holy
Dumb.
crap, look at this guy's hair.
Check
What is
this
up?
out.
Look at that thing. What's
Just
up, Brian?
Just letting it fly today.
What's up, guys?
Mid breakfast. Sorry, dude.
Let's see if I can do that. Do not be sorry. I wanted to eat breakfast
It's
with
all right.
you guys, so I apologize.
We're in tank top season, guys. We are in tank top season. Should I go change? This feels weird.
At least roll up your sleeves or something. I don't know.
I don't fill up a tank top quite like you guys do. So, like
There you go.
Yes.
Do you have some athletic tape to
I'll do adult, then I'll just start
Keep it pinned.
just start cutting live on stream. That's uncomfortable. Good morning, David. Yes, thank goodness it's Friday. I'm working this Friday. Not too thrilled about it, but whatever. It is what it is. I have I have a meeting today with an old designer who I absolutely loved working with. So I'm very excited to see them. Jason, back to school pro hair for sure. Big T, what's up, buddy? It has been a while. Come over on Twitch if you want, or just hang on Twitter. It's totally fine. Good morning. Hey, good evening, Craig. What's up, buddy? Craig came for the conversation. I dropped it in the chat. Brofit's here. We want to hear all about Norway. Jay, do you got any bullshit you want to spew before Brofit just takes over the whole stream?
Not really. I just want to listen to. I just really want to listen to Brian today. He went to. So the background is. I don't even know if this needs any background, but you went to Norway. Very intentional with your nephew, right? Because of a trip that you went on with your uncle in the past.
Correct. Yeah. So 2011, actually it started in 2010. My uncle came up to me and said, "Hey, did you ever graduate college?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "Do me a favor, go back, finish. And if you do, I'll take you anywhere you want in the world." And I was like, "Okay." And I'd been working as a trainer for like 4 or 5 years then. And I went back and I found out so I had a philosophy class and like two 2 electives, and graduated, and he ended up taking me to Norway, where my grandmother was born and raised and had grown up. I met lots of family members from Norway, but never had visited Norway ever. So, long story short, we went there, vacation for 3 weeks, met some beautiful people, saw some amazing things. I ended up moving there to work there, lived there for about 8 or 9 months, and then come full circle. I had the opportunity to go with my nephew, and he's mentally, I feel like, at the same place that I was, but just at such an earlier stage of life. Like, he's 18 and I was like 28, 27. So I was just really, really excited to be able to have the opportunity to go with him to Norway and show him around, kind of give him a little culture shock and different perspective. And that's kind of the background of it.
So when I was in Arizona with Ryan, you got to tell us a little bit about the background and kind of a little bit of your experience. You talked about being a trainer in I forget if it was a small town or the larger city where you were. You found a lot of success as a trainer in Norway with people. But you mentioned that you were hitting a lot of cultural norms that you were not used to.
Yeah.
That you didn't seem like you struggled with it. You just found it very odd, and you almost kind of found it to be like a barrier to further success there, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah, in my eyes, there's phenomenal opportunity in Norway. We have to understand that Norway is a very, very, very rich country with very, very, very few people. They've got about 5.5, 6 million people or so, 7 million people at the max. I know it's less than Arizona. I always compare it to our Phoenix
Damn.
metropolitan area. We've got, I think, 5.5 million people in the Phoenix metropolitan area. That's the same as the entire country of Norway. However, they've got more oil money than they know what to do with. So their regulations and their culture and the way they think and their mindset is different than ours. We're very eager to be the best or to have competition or to always. America's known for being bigger and more. And I don't think it's always a good thing. So yes, there's definitely some cultural shocks, and I recognize it again going back. And the first thing I said when I came back home is like, I just want to minimize everything. We make everything way too more complex than it needs to be. Like, we
Yep.
just need to like break things down that make us happy and stick to those things. And like, why the unnecessary things is so. Yeah, I'll explain it as we get further on, and I break down the story and whatnot. But it's the cultural differences are definitely there. But the people that we hung out with don't necessarily think like that. So that was the that was the hard part for me to explain now is we didn't it exists, but we didn't really hang out with those sort of people. The people that we hung out with are more of the go-getter types. They're the ones that want to have competition. They basically run CrossFit gyms and a company called ATA, which is, in a nutshell, it's like Rogue of Norway. So they have a ton of equipment. They outlet a bunch of equipment to different companies and whatnot. So the people that we got to hang out with was just phenomenal.
Chat, I want you guys to ignore my hair for a second. Let's give Brian the attention that he needs, please.
They're like swooning right now.
So Brian, sorry, Don, you go. I asked the last question. Why don't you go?
I was gonna say, like, so the planning of this trip, like, were you planning? I know you were planning on this trip for a while, but like, when did your nephew come into play, or have you been planning it?
It's because of
Like,
my nephew. The
okay.
only reason I went was because of my nephew. So
So
my brother,
how did he approach? Like, did he approach you and say, I want to go here or go there, or was it like, explain that a little bit?
yeah, let me break that down. My brother, as you guys all know, passed 11 years ago. When that happened, my father, his grandfather, and Mateus's grandfather, um, went to him and said, "Hey, I'll make you a deal. If you graduate high school, kind of like the same deal I got with my uncle. If you graduate high school, I'll take you anywhere you want in the world." And so, fast forward 11 years, my nephew graduates high school. He says, "Hey, Grandpa, remember when you said that?" And he goes, No," but I could see myself saying that. So he goes, "Where do you want to go?" He goes, "I don't know." And he starts looking around and randomly finds some picture that he saw on some social media thing. He goes, "That's where I want to go," and figured it out. And it ended up being a small little fishing village in Norway, all the way up north. And I was like,
Wow.
"Why do you want to go there?" And he goes, "I don't know. It just looks really pretty." Like, and I was like, "Okay." I was like, "You know where this is at, right?" He goes, I'm like, "Okay, let's look on the map." I said, "You see, like 30 minutes away, that's where your grandmother was like born and raised, or your great grandmother was born and raised." He goes, "Oh, huh." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, we've got to figure out how to do this." So um, we left it open to him. He picked Norway. He was 100% about Norway, didn't want to go anywhere else. I suggested Barcelona. I suggested, Rome. I suggested going to like Malaysia or just some funky, weird country. I was like, "Are you sure you don't want to go like hike like in Tibet? Like, what do you want to do?" He said, "Norway. You live there, Uncle Brian, so let's go there." And I said, if okay, like, I
Jeez.
I'm not involved, but Grandpa's involved. But my dad basically said, "Listen, I'm 75 years old. He'll have a lot more fun with you. Why don't you go with him? You know people there. You can get around." And so we did. We jumped on the airplane, hopped over there, and met up with my buddy Sarush. He's probably the closest thing I have to a brother in this world. And we worked together at the gym. When I lived there, I was working in one of the gyms in a small city outside of Oslo called Billingstad. And we quickly and close became really, really, really good friends. And I'd say that we're kind of like brothers. So it was a great opportunity to see him and to meet his little girl and to just hang out. I hadn't seen him in 8 years. I think 8 years. No, 6 years. I haven't been to Norway in 9 years. The last time I'd been to Norway, we were pregnant with our first kid. So a lot had changed. A lot was about to happen. I wanted to show Mateus kind of like real quickly Oslo and the city because again, there's more of a country. So we ended up just getting out and about, got in a car, traveled for like 6 to 8 hours, and hopped from city to city, and had just the most beautiful sights along the way. So everything was more or less planned out. We just got there, had to get there safely, and Sarush took care of the rest. And um, yeah, we stopped off at 3 different places. Sorry, I'm getting excited talking about it, and I'm all over the place.
Well,
In
I was
fact,
gonna say, I was gonna interrupt, but like that, like just that part of him picking where to go, and that same family story of your grandfather saying like, graduate and we'll take you. Like that's like what a cool like family moment. Like what a badass family. Like period. Like that you guys like are passing that tradition down and sharing that same thing that like you went through with your uncle. Like that's like I know the chat did too, but like that when you were telling that part, I was like, damn, my heart kind of skipped a beat. And I'm like, sure yours did too. Like when he out of anywhere in the world to go, he just pulls this random picture.
yeah,
Like that's wild.
it was a good bonding experience for my nephew and I. It was, he's been searching for some answers and clarity of who he is and
Mm-hmm.
what purpose he has in life. And he goes, "People tell me to just be myself and like just to be me. Like, what does that mean?" And like my perspective of me is different than your perspective of me. And so, like, what's reality? And I'm like, oh boy, okay, we're getting philosophical here real quickly. I like this. I was a philosophy major. We need to do this more than ever, especially knowing the people that I knew over there and the way they think. I said, this is going to be a great week. So, 2 days before our trip, I get this unexpected package at my front door that was sent out from this really cool guy from the VDads community. And it had 2 books in there. It had one book from Ryan Holiday called The Daily Stoic, and the other one was the daily journal for the Daily Stoic. And that was gifted by Dom to my nephew, Mateus. And that was something that we ended up doing almost every single day. We read it out loud between either the 3 of us or the 2. I say the 3 of us: Sarush, myself, and my nephew Mateus. Or we read it out loud in front of the group. We had a group of guys, like 7 of us, and we were kind of just traveling from one place to the next. And so
Dang.
it was really a big guys group. And sometimes it was quick and like, okay, cool, like that was great thought for the day. And then there
Yeah.
was other times like, wow, this just hit hard. And I remember specifically the second to last day. It might have been the second to last day. We're on a 6-hour car ride back from Stryn, and Mateus is reading it out loud in the car, and he just stops. He's like, "Oh my gosh!" He's like, "That's like this entire week." And it was just basically talking about how it was just like literally a summary of the entire week of like how sometimes it's really good to have like close personal friends who become family that can open up the door, and going out and just excursioning with them and just adventuring with them. And it's sometimes just great to have those experiences, and sometimes you can learn and grow more from those. And he's just like, oh my gosh, like bam, this it was just a really cool moment for him to experience. And my buddy Sarush is very good at asking lots of questions. I'm not very good at asking questions. I like to talk, and then when I'm forced to talk, I don't know what to talk about, even though I know even though I know how to talk about it, I just don't know what to do. Um, he's really good at asking lots of deep questions, and the way he likes to break it down is he goes, I'm stupid. He goes, I've learned everything by asking questions. I don't mind being the idiot in the room, and people often come up to me and give me a compliment saying like, wow, you really just don't care about being stupid. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, you just ask stupid questions. And he goes, that's how I learn. He
Yeah.
goes, that's if I ask questions and I constantly keep learning, and I do that consistently over, a 10-year period of the time, by the end of 10 years, I'm going to probably be one of the smarter guys in the room, but I'm still going to keep asking questions. And so he did that, and I'm not good at that, especially with my nephew per se. And I got to hear a different side of him, and to understand a different perspective, and to see more so, I think, some of the answers that he's searching for, and some of the things from my perspective that he really needs to work on. Um, so
Yeah, that's
it's
awesome.
it was really really neat. We had some very cool bonding experiences. Um, the guys we were with were all very very physical. Some of them were like mountain men. They are actual rock climbers. They do lead climbing. Um, One of the guys lives in Stryn, and if you guys have a computer right near you, I'm gonna jump forward all the way to like the grand finale of the trip in my eyes, and where it was physical, mental, spiritual, and all the above. Check out Via Ferrata in Stryn. It's Viaferrata, and that's in Stryn, Norway. And
I've
just
heard
start
that.
looking at some of the pictures on there and just start clicking around. Now, this I knew I was gonna had the opportunity to go on. This was like Mateus's trip. Yeah. This was set up for Mateus. My nephew's like an adrenaline junkie, and we needed to do something that he could have fun, but I knew he wasn't gonna die. Like I didn't want him base jumping. I didn't want him skydiving. Like I gotta bring my nephew home safe. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what they had set up for us. And this Via Ferrata was a 1,000-meter hike slash climb where you're basically strapped in the whole time, but you're like clipping and unclipping from section to section and working your way all the way up the mountain. And then towards the top, about like 2,400 feet, like 2,500 feet up off the the ground, you end up having to choose between walking over this ladder, or you would have to go ahead and there's like a bridge, and it's Europe's longest bridge. And it's just like overhang. So you've got two choices. Just like walk this ladder of death that's wobbly. That's just there. Yeah, that's it right there. You can either walk across that thing, or you can walk like across the same thing, but it's just at this vertical like hike. And you're just like, oh, okay, cool options, guys. Like, fuck. So the whole time, I wasn't sure if I was going to go. I was like 50-50. I need to do this. I don't want to do this. Like, should I go? This is too fucking terrifying. Brian, you're like, you're awesome. You can do this. No, dude, you're 41 and got kids. Like, there's nothing to prove. Like back and forth, just trying to battle. Should I go or should I not go? Uh, the guys I'm with are just like, you're going. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, no, we'll see you guys. And they're like, no, you're going. And I was like, okay, fine. So
Heck yeah.
I'd gotten so jacked up and like, my heart rate's up, anxiety for like 2 weeks beforehand. And like, I really did not want to do this, but I ended up saying like, I have to do this. Like the
Hmm.
gutsy gecko part of me needs to do this. The uncle in me needs to do this. My brother loved to climb and hike. Like he's there with us. Like there was just so many things hitting home that I needed to go do this hike. And so the day leads up, we go do a small little workout in the morning, and we grab some lunch, and I'm like, well, when are we going to hike? They're like, oh, later. We didn't start our hike until 6 o'clock at night. And it's like this, it's just beautiful out. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, hopefully like it stays really nice. We'll see. And all of a sudden we see this like huge cloud come in. And so we started the hike, and about 30 minutes into our hike, it just got cloudy and rainy, and you could not see a thing. So the entire time you don't have those spectacular views. It was just you in the mountain, and then you'd look down and it was just the abyss. You could not see anything. And I was actually happy about that because for me it took away the element of surprise and or depth perception. And walking across the bridge, I was able just to focus on my nephew's feet and tell him to slow down so I could see him. And uh, by the time I got to the end, I was really excited. And my nephew was super excited. He gave me like a double high five, and I thought that was kind of cool because he doesn't usually do that. And
Yeah.
for the next 15-20 minutes, we ended up actually talking about his dad on the way up the mountain. And it was it got very emotional. I'm going to try not to get emotional right now because every time I do talk about him, I get emotional. And I'm trying to really work on not getting emotional while just even talking about him. So, but it was really good. It was, there was a lot of things that brought my nephew and I closer. And that was definitely one of those moments. Um, I know he said we were hiking up about a few minutes after that. And he goes, huh. He goes, wow, I've really never thought about you and your relationship with my dad. I guess I've only thought about it from my perspective. And I was like, huh, okay. Like, just to get him to think differently was a big deal. And,
Yeah.
he had mentioned some things throughout the trip um, that impacted me in the way that our relationship is going to be for the better. Um, he had mentioned something about his stepfather, and Sarush was asking questions, and he goes, "Oh, I look at my uncle Brian as more of a father than my Vaughn is his name, and that's his stepfather, and it's been his stepfather for 10, 11 years."
Hmm.
And so just to
That's
hear stuff
amazing.
like that was powerful, and it gives you a different element of surprise. Huh, I did not know that he looked up to me in that way. So it changes the way that I want to talk to him and the way I can deliver. I want to say certain things, but I think the delivery's the hard part for me. The balance between being the uncle and or wanting to be a father figure, but I can't replace Michael, and nobody can replace Michael, and
Hmm.
that's not my purpose. That's not what I'm supposed to be. I need to be the fun uncle, just like I had the fun uncle that took me out and traveling, the guy that could sit down and have a beer with me, or smoke a joint, or have a cigarette, or whatever. Just whatever it was that was going on, he could just connect with me, get to my level, and I was able to open up and share. And that's what I want to be able to do. I want to have that ability to put him in a position where he feels extremely comfortable with himself, starts to grow, and is able to um, not be fearful of who he is and start to figure out this identity. Um, so that was there's a lot of things going on there, like tons of things, and this is all outside of just like the food that we ate and the places that we saw and the other daily excursions that we took and the conversations. So to me, those are the things that I'm going to definitely remember, is the impact of the places that we went to. Not necessarily all the other stuff, but all the other stuff was really, really fun too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it's
think
one of those
you
things.
redefined what a Funkle is there, Brian. I think you win the Funkle Award for sure.
I can't see any of the chat, by the way. Like literally, I have zero chat, so I apologize for anybody who's saying anything or asking questions or wanting to know what I just literally can't see anything. So anything that you pop up, Dom, is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
It's all great stuff. All kudos to you for doing what you did. So I can't see
Chelsea's going to need a moment after this episode. She's But
She's
yeah,
not
I mean,
supposed to be. She's not supposed to be here, I thought.
no, today's her day that she's here.
Yeah.
But that's amazing, dude. Like a really, really amazing. I mean, like you said, the connection point, the him being close to you, him thinking you have a father figure. I mean, you know, no, I don't think anyone knows your brother like you do. So I'm sure that's a way for him to connect to his father, is to be around you, ask questions. Hopefully he feels comfortable asking questions and you feel comfortable, giving him the answers, because I know that's probably a thing that he's searching for and has an interest in. But I'm sure that he feels his presence in you, um, and is getting a lot from you. So that's awesome. I'm glad you guys have that time. I hope you guys have more time together. I hope you both realize that it doesn't need to be Norway for you guys to spend time together and for you guys to have those deep moments and those deep connections. That's something that I don't think many of us realize, but I'm getting to realize from these daily conversations and in your conversations too in the gym, that like you don't have to go and do a boys get together camping trip to have those conversations over the fire. Like you can just open up StreamYard every morning and have these conversations. Simply that. And then same with your nephew. Like he can just jump on a call with you, and when he's having a hard moment. So yeah, good stuff.
but it would be a lot cooler if we could have these conversations on the side of a mountain. Um, Brian,
I don't think Brian was having conversations on the side of the mountain other than in
Oh
his
my
own
God, I
brain.
was having lots of conversations on the side of the mountain. It was a mental. So let me explain this like hike real quick. The first 1,000 feet is just like a straight hike like this. There's no rocks, no nothing. It's just like a trail that's just straight up. And it kicked the shit out of me. Literally kicked the shit out of me. The people there are like billy goats. This is their backyard and they know no different. They're like, yeah, we do this after work. I'm like, fuck you guys. This is like me powerhousing Camelback Mountain 4 times and then thinking about doing it again. Like it was so extreme compared to what we have here. So and here I am getting my ass kicked, and I'm like, Jesus, I'm last place right now. I am the old one. Everybody else is like 31 or so.
Okay.
But we get to that, and then all of a sudden, for the next 1,000, maybe 500 feet, it's just steps, like all the way up. And I'm like, okay, hamstrings start cramping, calves start cramping. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, I'm getting my ass kicked. Um, yeah, I ended up having more of a conversation with my brother and being like, okay, dude, come on, get me through this shit. Uh, than anything. But yeah, when you're clipping in and you feel like you're holding on and it's not, you look down and there's just clouds, there's not like grass on the other side. But yeah, anyways, it was epic. So I'll stop with that. I could keep going on and feel like I want to keep talking, but yeah.
I wish I was off today. I could listen to you talk about this for quite a bit, I think. I'm really curious, Brian, and this kind of relates to our in-person meeting earlier in the summer and all this. You mentioned earlier today that you took this trip when you were 26, you said?
2011. What was that? 14 years ago? Yeah, 26, 27,
26,
somewhere around there.
27. And Mateus, you took him when he was 18.
Yeah.
You found a lot of value out of that trip.
Extremely.
Thinking about like your discussions and how this trip kind of affected Mateus, how do you think this trip would have been different for you if you were to have taken that trip at Mateus's age instead of like more of a developed adult?
Wow. I that's a great question, and I think that's why I was excited to do it, is that I see the advantage of that time. Like he's got a 9-year advantage over me as far as I'm concerned, and is just skipping the whole college party phase. Like it was so of the norm of our generation to just go from high school to college and not think about it. There was no like question. It was more of what college were we going to go to, and if we didn't, we were probably like a loser or a failure or something of the sorts. And so now I think the thought process is he doesn't want to do school, and he knew that. He got out early at a high school through a special program, and he doesn't really like schooling anyways, but he wants to figure out himself. And so I say he's got a 9-year advantage. I wish I had those opportunities to travel. I just didn't look at it the same way. My perspective was skewed. I had movies guide me, and the kids and friends and society around me guide me rather than thinking outside the box. I just wanted to go to school, meet girls, party, play sports. School was like, 7th on the list of any of those things. I just so happened to go to school so that I could play volleyball or play sports or meet girl, and all the above. So he knows he doesn't want to do that. And now the biggest thing that he has taken from this is he mentioned to us all is, I think that traveling is going to just provide me the best opportunity to grow and to learn how to take care of myself. And I said, huh. And I said, I can see that. You end up growing up really quickly. You learn how to not only adapt, but go through problems and situations and learn how to handle them. And I think that's the biggest thing my nephew still needs work on, and situational presence, and not being fearful of doing things on himself and doing them on his own. Um, Last little thing, he lost a plane ticket on the way back. So we're in London. We're going through security. They're like, "All right, grab your boarding pass and your passport." And he goes, "Uncle Brian, I don't know where my ticket is." I'm like, "Well, Mateus, that's a problem. You check your backpack." He goes, "I've checked everywhere." I said, check again. And I was like, "I'll go through it as well." And so we're going through it, and he's like, "I don't know where it is." I'm like, "Mateus, you lost your ticket?" He's like, I don't know. Like, I said, well, no, we know you don't have your ticket. So yes, you've lost your ticket." And he goes, "Okay." And I said, "We'll go get a new one." And he kind of just like stands there and looks around. I'm like, "Mateus, right there, British Airways. You see that guy? Go talk to him. Say that you lost your ticket and you need just a new ticket printed off, and we'll be on our way." And so he literally goes up to the counter. He stops and he like looks back at me like, "What the hell do I do?" I go, "Mateus, just talk to the guy."
Yeah.
And so little things like that It's he he needs help with. I think he's had people do it for him, or he's just never had to be social with people outside of our little city, kind of like the things that he knows. So stuff like that will be really, really fun. And it happened again when we got in the plane. Somebody was sitting in his seat, and I got two aisle seats so we could sit next to each other. And I didn't say anything, but I'm like, hey, like, he's in our seat. And so Mateus ends up sitting literally right in the middle between these two big guys. And I'm like, bro, you're 6'8". What are you doing? I bought you the aisle. And he kind of just like, yeah, like whatever. I'm like, hold on, give me your ticket. So he's reaching over the other guy, giving me the ticket. I'm like, 12D. I'm like, if you want to argue about this, Mateus, you have every right to. And like 5 minutes goes by and he doesn't say anything. So finally I say something. The guy was like, oh, I just traded seats with somebody else. I just wanted an aisle seat. I'm like, can you go sit up there? He goes, yeah, no problem. So it's just him being able to speak up and being okay with speaking up and figuring out how to problem solve through life. And anyways, again, I could start going on and on and on. I'm going to shut up now.
No, I have another question for you.
Okay.
I like hearing your voice. You're a silver-tongued devil, Ryan. Next question here, and Dom, jump in if you have any questions. But I also from our face-to-face, you mentioned when you were in Norway, and I guess this kind of relates to your trip, maybe, and maybe even today's reading, which is all about being proud of our kids and whatnot. You mentioned the Norwegian phrase, and I'm only reading
Janteloven.
Janteloven, which is the practice of ending work promptly at 5. And you said that you learned about it because you were on the phone with somebody. I think it was a hotel, and like 5 o'clock came around, and they were like, essentially, they were like, oh, well, it's 5 o'clock. Call back tomorrow, and we can get this settled. Something like that, right? And like that's a thought that I feel like our generation has thought. I'm sure at some point where it's like, why am I working more than the hours that I should be? It's almost like, especially when you have a family and kids and things to take care of, it's like, yeah, I have to stop work now because I got shit to do at home. But it's like so many adults probably have a job where they're working after hours, they're answering emails, they're answering texts. My wife, Kristen, does frequently have to like stay on a device to do that after hours, even when we're like trying to, squeeze out a little bit of family time, even when everybody's tired.
Right.
When you came back to the States after all of that, did you carry any of that with you as far as like setting your own boundaries? Did Mateus experience any of that habit in Norway?
Well, the Janteloven is kind of a little bit different than that. The Janteloven is more of an unwritten rule and mindset of what you don't know. You're no better than anybody else. Everybody's replaceable by one another. The government will always know more and is bigger and better than you, kind of a deal. It just puts this like equality all across the board, and so there's no search to be better, or there's competition is not necessarily, it's kind of like frowned upon almost in a sense. And the reason they have that is because, again, they don't need to battle for money. Like, they have all the money in the world. So when 5 o'clock does come around, it's like, yeah, I don't need to do this. Like, there's no purpose. They're paying me for the job and nothing more. And so that's the Janteloven. The biggest thing it taught me was to be patient. And I understand. The thing I took back from it is I want things to be simplified. I want smaller. Like, everything that they have is like, imagine just IKEA homes ish. They're almost IKEA everything. So they're smaller, they're more organized. They use space very, very well. I would assume it's got to be like some New York spots, right? Like, or
Like
just bigger
Ryan,
major cities.
like Ryan's home. Ryan's home is efficient.
Yeah.
I would
I
assume
I
it's got to be super efficient. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but at the end of the day, it's very livable. It's very comfy. It's very it was just unnecessary things. We lived in a
would you say they have a lot less, or they like care about a lot less of things, like as far as like consumerism and like buying
Yes,
stuff and
yes. They don't want to show that they have money. Everybody's more or less pretty well off, but they never want to show how rich they are or expensive. They're never flashy. They're never trying to do that. Now, you'll see that in the city sometimes. You'll see that in certain parts. But if you
yeah.
get out like where we were, it was all countryside. So, I mean, they just don't understand. And I kept telling them, like, you guys don't fucking understand what you have in your backyard. This is the wildest shit in the world. Like, right now, if you'll see, I can show you pictures where like we'd be in their backyard and right where my little shop is right here, a little setup here. That close to him would be a big old river in his backyard, and it was
Yeah.
all just glacier water. And so when you were thirsty, you could literally just go take your water cup and dip it into the water and start drinking. In fact, what we would do is go take ice cold, not ice plunges, but cold plunges. We'd jump in there and swim around, and you could just drink the water. And it was the freshest, cleanest water you wanted to. If you wanted to go hike in his backyard, you literally just turned around and there was a big fucking mountain about 3,000 feet. And you just start hiking and start grabbing fresh blueberries off the ground. There's raspberries. Like, the air is so clean. Everything tastes different. The food is just ridiculous. Like, I'm sitting here trying to attempt to have a Norwegian, semi-Norwegian breakfast, just thinking about how healthy the shit was. But
Yeah.
um, just, none of their shit is messed around with because they have so many laws and regulations. So when you look at the ingredients, there's literally half of it. I brought some Skittles and some Sour Patch Kids for some of the kids out there, and they ate it and were like, what the hell was this? And and they showed us their version of them, and we compared ingredients and literally had 20, 30 more ingredients, and it was just like, this is sick.
Mm.
But so you're literally eating as much food as you want to. The food is phenomenal. I thought I was gonna have fish every single day, and I ended up having burgers almost every single day and meat. So we had like elk burgers and deer burgers, and
Okay.
um, it was fantastic in that regard. So it was so simple. We were more concerned about what are we gonna eat tonight. Let's revolve things around the meal and having a social time where we have an experience. And then when
Yeah.
we're not eating, what are we going to do during that time to maximize what our goals are together? And if that's to go move today, it was to go work out or go on a hike or go on a bike, or we played frisbee golf a few times. Um, we stayed in this ski resort for like 2 or 3 nights where they had the like rock climbing walls and a zip line, and like it was a fun fest. Every day we were constantly moving around and enjoying it. And then if we weren't enjoying and moving around, we were resting hard and we were pampering ourselves. We were hitting up the saunas or the ice baths, or sitting in the steam room and just hanging out and just having phenomenal conversations. Um, and it was a very cultural, diverse group. We had 2 Iranians, 2 Norwegians, a Swedish guy, and 2 Americans. So it was you get a little bit of everything, and the dynamics were just, they were phenomenal. It was just a super cool group of guys that were able to get together. Um, it was everything I needed. It was everything I wanted Mateus to experience, and yeah, it was a really, really good time.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Kind of wondering if I should go back to college and graduate, um, just to see if you'll take me to Norway.
Yes. Yes, I've already been looking at tickets again for next year, just because I'm like, I need this again. Like,
Oh
I
man.
need those. I need some of those guys. I need to have my buddy Sarish. We went on a bike ride, and we're up in these mountains again, and we stop. We have lunch. There's about seven of us, and I look over, and my buddy Sarush is just sitting down, just kind of looking up, out into nowhere. Just you could tell something was on his mind, and I knew what was going up. And I went and sat down to him and sat next to him, put my arm around him, and he was thinking about his brother. Unfortunately, he lost his brother about 2 years ago to suicide, and we haven't been able to see each other. We haven't seen each other since. So it was the first time where he and I were able to have a moment to think about and talk about our brothers that we'd both lost, and that the way we lost them were different, and the closure for our experiences were different. But there was just a time, 5-10 minutes, where we sat there and we just kind of cried and talked and said a few things. And he'd mentioned that literally that specific location that we were at, he goes, I brought my whole family here, my mother, my daughter, my brother, his entire family. And when we were here, he said that this was like heaven, like this was his heaven, like this was the most peaceful place, that he wanted to move here.
Mm.
And there I just like broke down and just went to that place. But those are the things that were powerful at Norway. Of course, the food was great, the experiences were great, but the like that moment with him, or the moment with my nephew on the mountain, or again, there were there were some other moments that were more funny than emotional. But those are the things that I'm going to take from the experience, because they have purpose, right? We could sit there and talk about it, but two, it's kind of like these things, or V friends that we talk about. We can have some great experiences online and whatnot, but then the moment that we get to actually physically hug it out, or the moment where we get to take our shirts off and work out next to each other, all sweaty and grimy, and just doing like hip thrusters and some super really cool gay stuff together. But
Highlight of my summer, by the way.
I it was a moment I really appreciate it. And I actually almost gave you a call just the other day, because I was like, shit, I can't afford to go out to Norway all the time. Where's like the closest thing? Ooh, Colorado. Fuck. Yes, let's go. Maybe we need to do some fitness journey where I come out and hang out with you, and we just get away out in the woods for about 4 or 5 days. So
Get out
um,
here. We will make that happen for sure.
that would be most excellent. I need that in my life. I'll just drop my wife off, and my daughter off, and my son off with your daughter and your wife, and we'll just let them all flourish and flock around together, and then you and I will take off.
Bring everybody. We will make it work. Brian, I have to go. I got to get my day started. I am
Get
happily
out of here, guys.
skipping my shower to go to work. I absolutely love this. You put so many ideas in my head of what I should or could do with my daughters, or even my
Right?
nephew.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, shoot, Bailey's graduating next year. I don't know that I can put that together in a year. I'm thinking like Bentley. I got like 5, 10, 12 years. I got 12 years on him. Like this just sounds amazing. Like uh it could have been a perfect to throw an egg. Um, I think that's already cracked, Chels. I think it's hard boiled, so I don't think it works like that. Good
Hey,
morning, little one.
Hazel, do you want to go to Norway? Yes, you do. It's gonna be great. All right, I gotta go, guys. Love you all.
See you, Jason.
Thank you,
Oh
Brian.
man.
Have a
See you,
great
buddy.
one.
You too.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely got me thinking. And I love that your nephew is thinking more about travel. I mean, I do think that that is the ultimate, like if you can work that into your life after school, like move, like push college to the side if that's not your thing. I think travel is, a great way to experience like other cultures, like the way that they just like every other culture does it different than us. Arguably, there are a lot of them that do it better. Um, and just getting our kids to experience that, and I love that. I love that for sure. I mean, that's why we all travel, is to experience the other sides of the worlds, the other cultures, what everyone else does, the people.
I
Yeah.
kind of wish I went back, and if I could go back, I would take, 3 to 6 months and be like, let's go become like a lifeguard in South Carolina and just try that out for 6 months. And then after that, I'm going to go up to Maine and, fish crab for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And, just keep doing these things. Like, hell, I'll go down to Brazil and be on work on an avocado farm for like 3 weeks or a month, whatever
Yeah,
it
it'd be
is.
crazy.
It would be the experience and the knowledge that you get from that. I always say it's one thing to learn it, but to see it in person is a completely different experience. So, to see the know about the Colosseum or the Spanish Steps is one thing, but to be able to sit in front of them and, throw a
Yeah.
little coin into Trevi Fountain, that's a different experience. So, yes, sir. I appreciate you letting me jump up and share the Norway. Totally unnecessary,
Like I
but
said,
I'm
man,
always
I've been
happy to
waiting.
talk about it.
Like I said, I've been waiting for it. I'm sure you've, I don't know. I've been off of Twitch, and so I haven't seen your streams, so I don't know if you've been talking about it more, but I haven't seen or heard it anywhere, so I just felt like I would bring it to the place where I always am. So, rather than me just jumping on a call and having this personal conversation with you, which I know I could have easily done, I figured I would share it with everyone, and I know for the at the very least we at least we at least hooked Chels. Like Chels had a good time this morning. I can see it. Okay. She outlasted everyone else. Everyone else is used to the 30 minutes of this call. She is the only one here in Twitch. It's just me and her and Jason. And
Chels, I'm obsessed with your husband, so I know the feeling.
everybody else left. Chels is the last woman standing, strong. But I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to you and not speaking. Um, so yeah, it was what an amazing time. I'm super I Before you left, I was over the moon happy for you that it was happening, and to now hear the backstory, like, yeah, that, like Chels said, gave me chills, maybe had some tears swelling up in my eyes if I would have thought about it anymore or not been distracted by the comments. But it just sounded beautiful, like really beautiful, like real wholesome, real true, like love, like all of that stuff. Like, yeah, so good for you. Happy for Mateus. Like what a, to grow up a kid losing a parent, but still have someone like you in their life, and then to like have this moment, this trip at, you know, arguably one of the pivotal times in any kid's life of turning 18. Like, yeah, you couldn't ask for a better story to cap off like what may have been a hard childhood.
Yeah, it definitely opened up a relationship that we didn't necessarily have before, and yeah, thanks to you as well for the book and
I was gonna say,
allowing
I
us
was gonna say,
to.
I'm happy. I'm happy to have been a little tiny part of it.
100%. No, it was not a little part of it. It was a big part of it because having that 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes that we had spent was kind of like the guidance for the rest of the day. Like that was our
Yeah.
launching point for the day. And it helped set up just the idea throughout the rest of the day of like asking questions and trying to figure out where Mateus's head is at. And yeah, it was beautiful. So thank you. I appreciate
Mhm.
you sending that out. And that means a lot. And we put it to use. It was fun to do that with them.
Good stuff, man. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for telling your story. Thank you for
You're
the
welcome.
time this morning.
Chels, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah. Thank you, Chels. You're very much needed. Even
Always.
though even though we give you shit for comment spamming the whole chat, but it's very, very necessary. I'm glad we helped make your morning a little better too. And it's Friday, so everyone have an amazing Friday. Enjoy your day with your family, with your friends, whoever you're with. Um, weekend is going to be this weekend's going to be a blast for me. So I probably won't be tuning in, but I will check you guys all on Monday for sure.
Appreciate you
buddy.
guys. Later. Have a good one. Talk to you all soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.